Hello and a very warm welcome to Insight. I am Amandra Bhatt. Today we focus on the country's first women's bank that commenced operations on Tuesday. The Bharatiya Mahila Bank, although a universal one, will cater primarily to women looking after their special needs and requirements. Today in Insight we discuss the purpose behind such a move, what the Bharatiya Mahila Bank is all about and to what extent it will enhance financial inclusion for women. And to discuss the same, we are joined in our studios by three distinguished guests. Please welcome Dr. Yamini Agarwal, who is a professor in the Indian Institute of Finance. Welcome to Insight, Professor Agarwal. Sitting next to her is Sutapa Chaudhary, who is a former Vice President with the Axis Bank. Welcome to Insight, Ms. Chaudhary. And we are also joined by Maithili Bhusnurmat, who is a senior journalist, consulting editor with the Economic Times. She is also a senior consultant with the NCAER. Welcome to Insight. Ms. Bhusnurmat, I'd like to begin with you. This seems like a landmark move, the first Mahila bank, all women's bank in our country. What would be the rationale behind such a move?
Well, sorry Amanda to sound such skeptic, but I think there really is no rationale at all. Apart from getting some political symbolism, I really don't find any reason why you need to have an all-women's bank. Because if you thought that women were disadvantaged and they are not getting sufficient credit, etc., you could just as well have included lending to women under the priority sector, if at all you wanted to do that, and you wanted to ensure that, look, the priority sector consists of many other parts of, subsegments also. You could have had a separate subsegment for lending to women. This is really clearly government's trying to get some political mileage out of it. Because if you really were concerned about women and they're being disadvantaged, there are many other better things to do. What you could have passed a women's reservation bill. It's been pending for 17 years in Parliament, and here we have a government which is headed by a party which has a woman as a president. The opposition party also has a woman at its head. So I don't see why. If you're really concerned, that's what you should have done, because as far as a bank is concerned, you're going to lend to a woman who has a worthy, credit-worthy proposal. If I have a business, I'm going to service my loan, because at the end of the day, let's be very clear that banks don't lend their own money. They lend depositors' money. So what is most important is that the depositor's money is safe. The depositor's money is safe if the borrower to whom I'm lending has a credit-worthy proposal, is ethical, is honest, and I'm going to get my money back. Now, that is not a function of gender. A woman can be dishonest, so can a man. So I think the entire focus on women is misplaced, in the sense that, yes, women are disadvantaged, but for the government, there are many better things that you could have done. You spent 1,000 crores in terms of the capital of the bank. Right. I think you would just build toilets for women. Almost 80% of the women in this country don't have toilets to go to. I would think that is much more basic a need, than banking, which other banks can serve just as well. Not that women don't need to be banked, but I think we already have systems in place to see that women's needs are met. I don't see any reason for set up a specific bank. I'm sorry if I come across as such a wet blanket, but I think this is really symbolism. I need substance rather than form. That's what I would have looked forward to.
Okay, Ms. Chaudhary, how do you look at the idea of an all-women's bank? It's a novel, unique idea, the first of its kind, clearly. The idea basically to bring banking closer to women, making financial access more inclusive. But would you agree with Maithili's comments there?
Yeah, to some extent, yes. But I would take this opportunity to, congratulate the present government for taking this step and for opening a bank exclusively for women. I have been in the banking industry. I quit some time back, but I worked in the banking industry for 18 years. And I can say confidently that in the banking industry, I never felt discriminated against just because I was a woman. I got equal opportunities. I got whatever was due to me on time. So I was happy being a woman and a banker. But having said that, I would also like to add that maybe what I experienced was because I come from that strata of society which is considered privileged. There are many women in India who do not get that privilege. They have to struggle to meet their daily needs. They don't have freedom of choice. They do not get the education.
Right.
And in that sense, what I would like to say that the first priority could be the education for the girl child, for the women, and the educational loan, if the bank focuses on. That will, I think, in my opinion, empower women better. And so they can, this bank can look at that segment and you know, they put and most of the focus on the education part before giving them loans. Right.
But do you think that you know, if the idea is to just get banking to women, it could have been done through already existing?
Yeah, existing banks are there, and like Maithili said, that you know, the credit worthiness of the borrower has to be seen before we lend money to them. So that credit worthiness comes from the profile of the borrower. So we have to empower the borrower first. We have to give the borrower the education, the means, you know, to empower herself to be able to qualify for that loan, so that it benefits both the borrower as well as the bank. It's a good idea. Definitely, it's a very good idea where the entire focus is on women. But you know, still I feel that, you know, if the focus is on the person being just a woman, that it's somewhat discriminating. I have never felt that discrimination ever in my banking industry.
Okay, Dr. Agarwal, certainly an interesting concept for us. Given
well, I beg to differ with both the participants over here. I think, you know, constitutionally itself, under the Article 15(3), women, you know, discriminatory favors in with respect to women have already been given as a constitutional right to all states, where they can actually create institutions and various other avenues whereby women can be favored. And I believe, you know, leaving apart the elite groups, there are several number of women who do not receive their dues. I give you a very simple statistics. Only 1/3 of the workforce is women participation out of the entire workforce. About 123 million are women. Only about 18 million work in the urban areas. About 106 million work in the rural areas. They do not have these facilities of, you know, reaching out to the banks. First of all, they're not mobilized well within their own villages.
Right.
So, you know, opening up a bank which has keeping in view women priorities or women issues, or keeping in view the national policy of women, where about 12 core areas for women associated related problems are there. I think it's a very, very good idea. It's a very creative idea. It's a very new idea. And it will help us grow about in the economy, because women force not only contribute in the home, but they contribute outside also. And let their participation be higher in terms of their savings going into the financial intermediary, which is the bank. I'm not saying that women don't go to bank today. They do. But how much is their participation? As per the statistics, only 40% of the overall workforce actually reaches to the bank.
Right.
Their savings get held in the form of golds or in their lockers as cashes, because they sometimes cannot reach out to the banks.
Right.
Online system has helped it, but how many of them are educated to reach out to the online system also?
Absolutely.
When a woman bank is issued, you know, I was reading through yesterday's news. They said they're bringing about very innovative and nice instruments like the kitchen loans.
Right.
It's a very nice idea. You know, I was reading the national policy which said there are a lot of women who need to be rehabilitated. Earthquakes, large number of disasters happen, distressed women, deprived women. Would the normal banks give them loan? I don't think so.
Right.
If this bank comes into existence, I think it will bring about certain women issues into picture.
Okay.
Also, I feel that, you know, sometimes women can approach the banks by themselves. They can be self-dependent. Let's say about 50% of the women are, let's say, self-occupied. For them, if they want to take loans, a lot of banks don't even recognize or don't want to take up their applications.
Right.
This bank says, if you don't have the property in your title, you can have the owner as your co-borrower and then take up a loan. I think which is a very good idea.
Right.
The bank has also said that we will be offering you in, loans at a very low interest rates of about 2.5%.
Right.
You know, we'll be also investing. Let's say there are issues of bringing about women hostels, creches.
Right.
Who will finance them? Usually the banks are shying away on them. So if, you know, if a bank looks at women priorities, give them loans at a lower rate, I think it's a very, very good idea.
So you do not think it's just about symbolism or
It's not about symbolism. See, you know, you had NABARD, let's say. You have NHB. So was the housing sector bad? No. They have identified that women need more loans, women need a greater participation in the economic workforce, women need to contribute to the overall wealth. We have 50% in population. Why not contribute to the GDP also equally?
Right.
And why don't I put our money back to the banks? I think it's a good idea.
Okay, Maithili, clearly women remain an economically underutilized group in our country, as Dr. Agarwal also said, and the finance minister, while at the inauguration of the bank, pointed out that only 26% women in India have bank accounts, and their per capita credit is currently 80% lower than that of men. So clearly there is a huge distance to be covered when it comes to
Absolutely, I'm not
women.
denying that there is discrimination, but I'm just saying, are we using the right instrument? First of all, this is not the first women's bank. Seva already has. It's an urban cooperative bank which is catering entirely to women.
Right.
The second thing is that though Yamini talked about Article 15, certainly the Constitution does allow you to have positive discrimination in favor of women. But I think we need to be very clear that what is the role of government, what is the role of a bank? It is government's role, yes, using taxpayer money to set up hostels for women. It is not the job of a bank. A bank is a commercial entity and it deals with funds that are not its own. So government has a right to taxpayer money. The government does not have a right to depositors' money. So if you lend at a lower rate of interest, who's paying the cost? Somebody is picking up the tab somewhere. Because however cliched it may sound, there is no free lunch. So if you're giving a woman a loan purely because she's a woman and not because her proposal is viable, I think one is really seriously erring over there. Because ultimately, if you have, they turn into non-performing assets, and we've already seen the high rise in non-performing assets in our country.
Absolutely.
That would clearly not be on at all. So I think women need to be, yes, they are disadvantaged. You need to do a great deal for women, but which is the agency? I think it's clearly the government using taxpayer money, not a bank. So just as you use the appropriate instrument for the appropriate objective, I think the objective of giving women loans could be done just as well by any commercial bank. Because when you're lending, you're not looking at gender. I don't lend to you because you're a woman or because you're a man. Just as I don't lend to you because you're a Hindu or a Muslim. I lend to you because you have a viable proposal. And that is completely gender neutral. That is my objection to this particular proposal.
But how gender neutral are our banks, Ms. Chaudhary, from a banker's perspective?
See, gender neutrality comes when you are assessing the profile of the borrower or the person who is coming to deposit. We don't actually see them as men or women. It's just for the record, right? So the entire background has to be seen. What is the educational qualifications? What does the person do? How it will benefit the bank? Because after all, we are all here to do business. So I think in that way, the bank does not look at the profile of the person, the depositor, as a man or a woman. Be very clear on that. But yes, definitely we have to check the credentials, the person, whether he is able to, pay back the money or not, and all those things. So in that way, I don't think the bank discriminates. But yes, if women are empowered more by way of education, by way of training them, and of course, like ma'am mentioned about the kitchen loans, I think it's a very good idea, because that will help the women to become more credit worthy.
Absolutely. We will dwell more on this item called the kitchen loan. What is it all about when we return from this quick break? Stay with us. We'll be right back.
क्यों? भूख लगी है।
साबुन से हाथ धुलेंगे तो
सेहत रहेगी। दाल की खुशबू, इसके प्रोटीन का जादू। रोज हरी सब्जी क्यों? इसकी आयरन की शक्ति से होगा गोल और मेडल भी। और पढ़ने में भी है ध्यान लगाना।
बच्चों का अधिकार है शिक्षा और पौष्टिक आहार जो दे चुस्ती, खेलकूद और पढ़ाई के लिए।
अब पढ़ना पक्का।
मिड डे मील योजना का लाभ देश के 11 करोड़ से भी अधिक बच्चे पाते हैं।
मुझे पैसों की बहुत जरूरत है। इस गोल्ड ज्वेलरी के कितने पैसे मिल जाएंगे?
बहन जी, ये तो सब पीतल है।
अब मैं क्या करूं? अब मैं अपने बेटे का एडमिशन कैसे कराऊंगी?
अगर आपने सोने की ज्वेलरी खरीदते समय उस पर हॉलमार्क के 5 निशान देखे होते तो आज यूं निराश न होना पड़ता।
हॉलमार्क का निशान, शुद्धता की पहचान।
मैं तो सारे मैसेज पढ़ूंगी। मैं नहीं देखी तुम्हारा मोबाइल।
तू कब आया मोनू?
अब तो मोनू के कॉलेज वापस जाने का टाइम आ गया है। जब भी कॉलेज जाने की बात करो इसका चेहरा उतर जाता है, कुछ तो गड़बड़ है।
नहीं नहीं, नया नया स्टूडेंट है ना, तो सीनियर तो रैगिंग करते ही होंगे। चिंता वाली कोई बात नहीं।
चिंता की बात है भाई साहब। रैगिंग जैसे गंभीर मामले को नजरअंदाज मत कीजिए। एंटी रैगिंग हेल्पलाइन नंबर पे कॉल करें और उनसे सलाह और सहयोग लें।
एंटी रैगिंग हेल्पलाइन नंबर 1800-180-5522 पर कॉल करें।
4, 5, 6 पंजे
30। दिमाग तो हवाई जहाज है तेरा।
नाना राकेट।
हाँ रॉकेट। राकेट जी कहाँ?
अम्मा खेत में आई है।
जा रख ले। मुन्नी बीमार जो होने वाली है।
बीमार?
खुले में शौच करेगी, उस पे मंडराएंगी मक्खियाँ। फिर वही मक्खियाँ तेरे बनाए खाने पर बैठ उसे दूषित करेंगी और मुन्नी को बीमार। घर में शौचालय बनवा और इस्तेमाल कर। जहाँ सोच वहाँ शौचालय।
बरसों संघर्ष के बाद मिली आजादी और लहराया तिरंगा। ये तिरंगा हमारी शान है और ये शान हमेशा बनी रहे। इसके लिए हमें एक और तिरंगा याद रखना है। मातृ एवं बाल सुरक्षा कार्ड के वजन चार्ट के ये 3 रंग जो बताते हैं बच्चे की सेहत का हाल। तो ये तिरंगा हमेशा याद रखिए।
बात पते की है तो गर्भ का पता चलते ही आंगनवाड़ी केंद्र जाएं और मातृ एवं बाल सुरक्षा कार्ड बनवाएं और फिर बच्चे के 3 साल का होने तक हर महीने आंगनवाड़ी जाएं और उसका वजन कराएं। तो आंगनवाड़ी से नाता जोड़ो, कहो कुपोषण भारत छोड़ो।
हाँ? हाँ? आप कुछ भूल रही हो। क्या भूल रही हो? आपने नल नहीं बंद किया। अरे ध्रुव।
क्या दीदी?
तुम कुछ भूल गए।
क्या दीदी?
तुमने जाने से पहले लाइट नहीं ऑफ की।
उतना ही इस्तेमाल करें जितने की आवश्यकता है। आने वाली पीढ़ी को उनकी सुविधाओं से वंचित न करें।
जागो, जागो।
कितने दिन लगेंगे कार छपने में?
4 या 5 दिन लगेंगे।
पापा?
सोचा था शिवानी को खुद के घर से विदा करूंगा। 5 दिन में आते। अरे ये एड्रेस गलत छपा है। ये किसका एड्रेस है?
शिवानी की विदाई अपने ही घर से होगी।
यूनियन बैंक ऑफ इंडिया दे होम लोन्स सिर्फ 5 दिनों में, क्योंकि आपके सपने सिर्फ आपके नहीं।
Welcome back to Insight. We are talking about the recently launched Bharatiya Mahila Bank. Dr. Agarwal, I'll continue with you. We were discussing whether or not our banks are gender neutral or there exists a bias against women. Because, you know, if the idea is just to make banking process and financial lending more inclusive, then it can be done through existing channels. Public sector banks can be asked to open branches in rural areas as well as in cities that cater especially to women with an all-women staff.
See, that's right, absolutely right. You know, when one of the participants said that yes, the banks have the priority sector lending to it, or the rural banks there for it, but the government has felt that it has not done its due to the women. And as far as a bank is concerned, we understand, you know, once a person deposited, it can lend into several people. And as far as the commerciability of this particular bank is concerned, it does not say that it will only lend it to women.
Right.
It says we will give preferential treatment to women and women instruments. Now, if you look at the present banking structure, it does not offer instruments with favor to women. You know, as we mentioned, like microfinance instruments are there. They are not in tune to with the women's needs. They are providing for the women needs over here. Another important aspect which this particular bank says is that 60% of the lending will go to the men and 60% will go to the women and 40% will go to the men. And as far as the commerciability of this particular bank is concerned, it is likely to have a break even within 3 to 4 years. And the 7 branches which it has opened is in the urban and the semi-urban areas, let's say in Guwahati, in Indore.
Right.
You know, why have they picked up these specific regions is because a large amount of unorganized labor work, women force, is into the agrarian regions in these particular areas. The northeastern, Himachal, you know, let's say Himachal Pradesh and other areas. Now they feel that, you know, about 96% of the women folk is working in the agrarian economy. Who reaches out to them? If the present banks were working on it and they were socially responsible, we would have seen the results. Since they felt that they are not being so socially responsible as they should have been, it is a need that the women get their own bank, which I feel is a very nice thing. There is nothing wrong with it. You know, you have something called the Kisan Credit Card Scheme.
Right.
Now, is there something wrong with the farmers? Can't you have for the, let's say, for the other professions, teachers or anybody else? Are they not doing their dues? But why do you need to give it to the farmers? Because they feel that the credit doesn't reach to them.
Okay.
Okay, so these instruments which are primarily targeted to women are aimed for the benefit of the women itself. And as far as commerciability is concerned, they are taking care of it. They also said, you know, the participants said 1,000 crores in equity has been invested. You know, they said that they will not remain invested as government participants over there. They would like the bank to get listed and then they would like to take off their stakes from there.
Okay.
Another thing, a bank is not, you know, a bank can create large number of productive investments, unlike one small investments like creating clean toilets and where there are sanitation drives which are going on. As a matter of fact, the government has not stopped them by the National Women's Commissions or by the different 6 organizations which the government has.
Okay.
So that is, you know, as far as the bank is concerned, I don't feel there should be a problem with that.
Okay. Would you like to respond to?
Yeah, absolutely. But I don't agree at all. But I said in the case of lending, the fundamental and only rule for any kind of lending has to be the viability of the proposal. Gender is a completely irrelevant factor which just doesn't come in at all.
Okay.
So we talked about Kisan credit cards. Yes, there is much that is wrong with our financial system. And one of the things that is wrong with our financial system is that we have this kind of interest subvention and we have certain subsidized sectors. In fact, if we are moving towards a liberalized economy, a market-driven economy, all these things should go. In fact, the Narsimham Committee, way back in the 90s, when we started the reform process, had to do away with priority sector because any kind of distortion always affects allocation of resources. And if you want to be an efficient economy with efficient allocation of resources, you should have minimum subsidization. We've seen what's happening in petroleum, oil subsidies. It's hugely distortive of everything. So yes, which is why, in fact, over the years, priority sector lending, which earlier used to be done at concessional rate of interest, even that has been done away with. So today, all you have certain segments which are priority sector. There is no concessional lending whatsoever. So the aim really should be to empower women, but not through these means. You empower them through education, ensure that property rights are given to women. Why is it that I need a male co-borrower? Why can't I have the property in my own name? That's what you need to do. I'm lending to a woman. If I'm giving a housing loan to a woman, yes, the house must be in her name. So that's what the government should say, that yes, you know, house, inheritance rights, property rights. We've seen some changes with the amendment to the Hindu law, but I think we need to do much more of that. If you have empowered women, you don't need to look at their sex. You just go by what is a viable proposal. So as I come back to the same thing, banks don't lend their own money. They don't do charity. They're commercial entities. They lend the money of depositors. And the only thing that really matters is the safety of deposits.
Right. Ms. Chaudhary, this whole question of, ownership of enterprises or corporates or in fact ancestral rights, inheritance rights, etc. Women in our country, most of the properties, especially in rural areas, they are in the name of the spouse, and the woman cannot get a loan unless she has a property as security. Are we addressing these kind of issues?
Through this bank or through the existing banking system?
Through this particular bank. Will it address this issue?
Yeah, because let's call it a beginning of some sorts.
Okay.
Right. So the spouse is the owner and she becomes the co-owner, and then she applies for the loan, and this bank will look at this proposal and favorably, and they sanction the loan, which the other banks will not do.
Okay.
In the existing system, right? The normal banks will not do such a thing because their, the collateral there is not in the borrower's name, so it cannot be done that way. So this, yes, it's a beginning of sorts. But how we carry it forward from here, we can't really say. And like I'll again repeat that women empowerment should be the focus here. And if the bank is focusing on that aspect, you know, then in the true sense we will have achieved the objective which was behind creating this whole system.
Okay,
right?
Dr. Yamini, this brings me to the question of, you know, something that you mentioned earlier in the program, kitchen loans. And are there other schemes that are tailor-made for women, focusing on women's empowerment?
They're planning to do so, and they're actually planning, I mean, as far as I can understand, they're planning to target those groups which have not received it. So kitchen loans was one of those particular loans that they had identified. You know, it is very nice to say empower women with education, proper health. They need money for it. Education loans, yes, the present banks are giving them at a subsidized interest rate. But if they need education loans at a higher rate, then they can actually approach this particular bank, and without a collateral as well. You know, it is very nice to say give them health. How do they get health when they don't have money? Or buy a property in your own name? How will you buy a property when you don't get the loan from the bank unless you have a collateral?
Right.
And the collateral can be only made only available with the, you know, with the person who has actually acquired it, which may be your spouse, your father, your brother, and anybody else, as a matter of fact. You know, as far as banking is concerned, it is the priority sector where the women should actually be allowed to take loans for businesses, whereby they can be entrepreneurs. It should be allowed to take for their own health facilities, maternity facilities, or other facilities which they see. They should be allowed to make deposits. Let's say, you know, there are pension schemes that are available, but are there any pension schemes for the women specifically? You know, there can be medical benefits or medical schemes that can be granted by this particular bank. There can be mobile banking made available to women who are working in the farmlands. You know, there is a large amount of distribution that is there.
Right.
If you only look at the statistics of education, you will see actually only 30% women get out of from the primary sector, primary education level. About 40% women leave at the second level, and at about 50% leave at the tertiary level. A lot of families, budgets are given. If they have a son and a daughter, and they have to, you know, and they have a limited amount of money, they say let the son study, because I have to get the daughter married and I have to pay together, though dowry is prohibited, but they still have to pay some money during the marriage time because of the limited budget. If the girl wants to go take an education loan, she can today approach a proper bank, but if she does not have a collateral, maybe not. Though collaterals are not required up to a certain amount. But he can then approach this woman bank. A woman bank adds on to a greater capacity to the financial intermediation. If you look at the bank branches, it says 7 today in urban and semi-urban areas. It says 25 by 2014. It says 771. It plans to create a 60,000 crores business. Is that a small business in the financial intermediation? I don't think so. And if that much amount of liquidity is created, I don't say there is anything bad. They've employed about 103 people as yet, out of which only 60% are women and 40% are men. So have they created employment? Yes. So any bank which is created, whether it is for preferential treatment of women, is creating an economic growth. And I feel it is a good step.
Okay, economic growth and economic opportunities for women. Matli, I saw you smiling there. You want to come in here?
Yeah, I just believe, as I said, that banking is completely gender neutral. If a woman wants education and you want an education loan, there's nothing preventing me from going to State Bank of India or getting an education loan. And I should get the education loan depending on what course I am doing. If my earning capacity as a result of the education loan gives me the ability to finance, I come back to the same point that having been a banker for so many years, that banking is the business of taking money from depositors, repayable on demand, and lending it for productive purposes. The key word is productive. Productive can be equally that of a man or that of a woman. And if you get getting diverted by the sex of the person, the gender is complete. I mean, I strongly object to say kitchen loans. Why do we have this patriarchal view that women can only run kitchen loans? Sorry, why don't you give me a loan for financing some IT venture? Creche loans? Are children only a woman's responsibility? What about the man? So I think this entire focus, we are approaching it from very paternalistic. Oh, women, they need to have kitchen loans, they need to have, and there's nothing preventing. I have a very viable proposal.
So you say we are further perpetuating the bias.
Absolutely. If I have a wonderful proposal for a kitchen, you know, for a catering business, I could go as much. Why should I consider it a kitchen loan a woman's job? Kitchen, creche is a woman's responsibility. I think we've got to move beyond that and stop having the stereotyping of genders, saying women look after kitchen, they look after babies, and the men do the IT and they do the engineering. Very good. You know, sorry. I take strong objection to anything that perpetuates this kind of stereotyping of genders. I think we need to move beyond that, give women equal rights, and in reality, we talk about the women's reservation bill. We know what kind of society we're living in, and we know why the reservation bill will not be passed. But what about allocation of tickets? It's equally true of the Congress Party and of the BJP. How many women have they given tickets to? So why don't you do something like that? Because women in Parliament can influence policy. Policy is something that still could be gender specific, right? Because you might be more sensitive to things like rape, you might be more sensitive to those kind of issues. Banking is not sensitive to gender. I look only at the viability of the proposal, or I should look only at the viability of the proposal, but I'm not getting my money.
Specific targeting is not going to help.
Absolutely wrong.
You want to come in, Dr.
I like to say something. I don't say that women's job. The women are obviously more concerned about family and household issues, which I feel is a part of the culture we are brought about. And it's not that men are not concerned about. Another thing that is more important over here is when we say banking, the role of the very fact that a state or a government exists is for the purpose of welfare. And among the welfare are those people who are disadvantaged or not economically drawn towards. If you say that women should not be granted an access to financial inclusion by not creating a bank, then you should not ask for reservations also in the Parliament. You should not ask for reservations in the metro. You should say women should stand with the men. What is the problem? But I don't think so. Women is obviously the fairer sex. She has her own problems at her set. There are certain people who understand it, and there is a need to address them. And as far as the government feels that there is a welfare which is being brought about, it will create a better society. And if something leads to a better society, there is something good. And as far as the financial structure is concerned, the bank's targets by giving subsidized loans will be met by giving loans at a higher interest rate. They are not anywhere differentiating between the loans. They are only saying, I am again saying, they say 60% we will try to target to give it to women who may be starting up a business, or they may be self-entrepreneurs. I mentioned that, all those women who are working, 50% are self-entrepreneurs. With the national policy says there is a wage differential. If you look at the urban sector, where let's say for teaching in Delhi University, as simple as that, the associate professor, whether he's a male or a female, he gets the same price. But when you actually go at the primary sector or the labor class, are the wage rates same? The wage rates are not same. Women also face a problem. They may get money for their labor. A lot of times men folk or other people may take it away. We have the national holidays which are dry days. Why were they kept as a dry days? Because no, it's not a question of bank. It's a question of
bank to ensure that women don't salaries remain with them. I'm just talking about instrumentality.
The point is you are giving them a preference.
No, but I'm saying that is for the government to give a preference in policy. You don't use a bank. A bank is a commercial entity.
Why can't you create a financial
institution? Ladies, I'm going to come back to you in just a bit. We have to take a break in the program. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
भूख लगी है।
साबुन से हाथ धुलेंगे तो
सेहत रहेगी। दाल की खुशबू, इसके प्रोटीन का जादू। रोज हरी सब्जी क्यों? इसकी आयरन की शक्ति से होगा गोल और मेडल भी।
बच्चों का अधिकार है शिक्षा और पौष्टिक आहार जो दे चुस्ती, खेलकूद और पढ़ाई के लिए।
अब पढ़ना पक्का।
मिड डे मील योजना का लाभ देश के 11 करोड़ से भी अधिक बच्चे पाते हैं।
नीचे
काकी, घर में शौचालय कहाँ है? बहू को
घर में कहाँ, खुले में ही जाना पड़ेगा।
फिर तो तुम घूंघट भी खोल ही दो। एक तरफ तो आपको बहू का घूंघट भी सरकाना गवारा नहीं, और दूसरी तरफ उससे खुले में।
इस तरह तो हमने कभी सोचा ही नहीं था।
तो अब सोचो, घर में शौचालय बनवाओ और इस्तेमाल करो।
शुरू करें निर्मल भारत।
जहाँ सोच वहाँ शौचालय।
श्यामू, देखो फिर आ रहा है, नया टीवी मांगेगा। मैं निकलता हूँ, तू टाल दियो।
जरा रुकिए।
हाँ बोलिए।
ये देखिए कंज्यूमर कोर्ट का फैसला।
ये कागज किसी और को दिखाना, इससे कुछ नहीं होगा।
अब जरूर होगा। अदालत का आदेश न मानने पर तुम्हारे खिलाफ वारंट जारी हो सकता है।
तो क्या?
तो तुम्हें 3 वर्ष तक का कारावास या 10,000 रुपए तक का जुर्माना या दोनों हो सकते हैं। समझे?
समझ गया।
जागो ग्राहक जागो।
मुझे गन्ना खाना बहुत पसंद है, लेकिन मेरे जब तक नए दांत नहीं आ जाते ना, तब तक तो मैं अपना गन्ना नहीं छील सकती ना। इसीलिए ये मेरा दोस्त मेरे लिए गन्ना छीलता है। और कितनी देरी करना छीलने के लिए? 2 मिनट। पर जल्दी छीलो।
ऐसी दोस्ती अगर एक बैंक निभाए तो IDBI बैंक, बैंक ऐसा दोस्त जैसा।
ठहरो।
क्या हुआ?
बिरजू से पूछो। ठहरो। क्या हुआ? बिरजू से पूछो। ठहरो। क्यों भाई, क्या हुआ? बिरजू से पूछो।
क्यों, क्या हुआ, कैसा लगा?
बहुत बुरा। आखिर कौन है ये बिरजू?
बिरजू हमारे देश के अनेक कुष्ठ रोगियों में से एक है, जिसे कुष्ठ के पूर्ण इलाज के बाद भी हर रोज सबकी अज्ञानता के कारण इस तरह के व्यवहार व घृणा का सामना करना पड़ता है।
किसी को भी बिरजू ना बनने दीजिए।
कुष्ठ रोग का इलाज संभव है।
कुष्ठ रोग के उपचार में रोगी को सहयोग दीजिए।
कल मैं बड़ी मुश्किल में पड़ी जब प्रिया ने मुझे अपनी प्रॉब्लम बताई।
कल मैं अपनी गर्भ निरोधक गोली खाना भूल गई। मुन्नी अभी बहुत छोटी है, कोई रास्ता हो तो बताओ ना।
इस मुश्किल से निकलने का एक ही रास्ता है, इमरजेंसी कॉन्ट्रासेप्टिव पिल यानी ECP। अगर प्रिया की तरह आपसे भी ये भूल हो जाए तो 72 घंटे के अंदर ये गोली खा लें और बिल्कुल निश्चिंत हो जाए। लेकिन प्लीज याद रखिए कि ये नियमित गर्भ निरोधक उपाय नहीं है और बार बार लेने से हानिकारक हो सकती है।
अधिक जानकारी के लिए पास के सरकारी स्वास्थ्य केंद्र में संपर्क करें।
Welcome back to Inside. We are talking about the country's first all-women's bank, the Bharatiya Mahila Bank. Okay, Ms. Chaudhary, I'll come to you now. We were discussing how, Maithili being against gender-specific lending and Yamini being all for it. But, there are many cultural and social barriers in our country that prevent a woman from accessing a bank. In such a scenario, don't you think it becomes imperative that we have some kind of targeted financial inclusion for women?
Absolutely. Now that the bank has been opened and the noble thought behind opening this bank is very positive, that we have to look at empowering the underprivileged caste, right? And in that manner, I think that it's a right step. And yes, women are disadvantaged. Like you speak to any woman who, like for example, the maid coming to your home. If I asked my maid, whether she feels confident going to the bank to open an account, no. It's a husband who has to come along. Even if she wants to open an account, her husband has to come along and, and do the entire processing. He'll tell her what to do, what not to do.
And then there are roadblocks when it comes to access of credit. They cannot offer a collateral.
Same thing, in her entire life is controlled by either the father or the brother or the son. Because that thought is not there in her mind that I am empowered, I should have the confidence to manage my own money. She's working, she's earning her money, but she doesn't have the right to spend it or save it or whichever way she wants, right? I'm 100% sure if you ask her, she'll say only one thing, that I want my children to be empowered, the daughters to be empowered, so that this does not continue. So this is one way of looking at it, that the person, if he or she is empowered, he gets the right, the freedom to make a choice. And when that stage is reached, that person will decide which bank to approach, what kind of loan to take, what career to pursue.
Right.
So in that process, the existing banks do have certain products where they help people. I'm not saying that this particular category gets a loan easily. It's difficult. They have to pay collateral. There are various factors involved. So in that respect, if this bank focuses on this thought, the empowerment, and for the girls' education, and they develop a special product for the women, and the forbearance continues throughout till the time they get educated and they are able to repay back. I think it should be, it's a way forward.
Right.
This is one of the very strong ways in this, in a way, this bank can help our women of our country.
Then, you know, from a banker's perspective, what do you think are the challenges that women entrepreneurs face today, particularly in rural areas? If we want to bring them into the economic mainstream, we want them to be able to contribute to our economic growth.
First of all, education definitely plays a part, but yes, women entrepreneurs are, you know, I think they are more gutsy. They are able to take more risk. My experience tells me that, and they are also more credit worthy than men because they are very focused.
Okay.
The fact that they have been underprivileged for so long makes them fighters. So they fight their way out, and if they are able to get that opportunity to start a business, do something, you know, which generates income from them, improves their you know, lifestyle and all that, so they perform better than men, you know, which improves their credit worthiness. Yes, challenges are there because men are already there, and you know, a woman coming and fighting for space is not a very welcome thing for them. So she has to face the same kind of challenges any other person will face when he or she opens a business, but it becomes more difficult for women because of the fact that she is a woman and she is being looked at in a different way. You know, discriminated against. So in those ways the challenges are there. Her educational background may not be as good as the man's, or her confidence level, you know, while interacting with the people, the bankers, may not be as high as the men of her family. Those small things are there. But yes, women, if given a chance, if empowered, they perform better than men any day.
Mainly looking at, you know, the cultural barriers that exist in our society, women in rural areas, we look at self-help groups doing so well. At the same time, there are roadblocks when it comes to them being able to access credit. I mentioned the issue of property rights, etc., which are tilted against women. How big a challenge is this?
No, I'm not disputing, Amanda, at all that women are hugely disadvantaged, not just disadvantaged, but hugely disadvantaged, and particularly women in the rural areas who really are completely unaware of their rights and are perhaps most probably uneducated as well. I was only questioning the means that we're using. Yes, they need access to credit, but can that not be done with the existing system itself? Because you do have a lot of all-women branches, and to the extent that women get greater confidence in dealing with another woman, yes, given our society, a lot of women, particularly in the rural areas, might feel very intimidated talking to a man, and they might feel more confident. So I was just saying that, you know, we could have had women branches. The existing bank network itself could have sufficed. Whereas when you do this, it seems to suggest that, you know, as if women are a different species altogether, as if their loan requirements are different from that of men. Whereas I come again to the point that ultimately banking is about keeping depositors' money safe, because it's an issue, it's a business of trust. I take money from the public on the basis of trust. And the only way I can retain that trust is I'm able to repay that money as and when the depositors ask back for their money. That will be possible only if I lend to viable projects. A viable project is completely gender neutral. So that was my only point, that I'm completely for empowerment of women, because, you know, we know which country we're living in. We know that women are hugely disadvantaged. So I'm not against empowerment at all, but I'm just wondering at the medium. I think the role for empowerment lies in government's hands through policy, and not by using banks, which are ultimately commercial entities, because at the end of the day, banks have to make profit. Otherwise, if they don't make profit, you bridge their losses using taxpayer money, which may be a more costly way of doing it, rather than using taxpayer money directly by framing policy in favor of women.
Okay, speaking of commercial viability, Dr. Agarwal, we're not really clear about the business model that this bank is going to follow. You know, there are compulsions of priority sector lending and so on. Are these issues being addressed?
Yes, they are actually talking about it, and they are also requesting the RBI to be a little more relaxed with them. If you read through the reports that I have gone through in the newspaper, they said that they will be looking at the loans at a very low rate, at even as low as 2.5%. And they're keeping the target levels at low. They're also saying that they want to get into a break-even position in 3 to 5 years, taking into consideration all the banking regulations. So they're not away from the banking regulations anyway. They are only saying that, you know, we're targeting a particular specific group. Another thing, as far as the viability is concerned, they're not saying that we're taking up projects which are bad. We are saying we are being socially more responsible to the activities that women are doing, and we will be more concerned about it. I'm not saying that the present banking system is anywhere discriminatory to women. But as that I've been putting it through, it is a positive approach. Now, you know, concetiously, it is believed. I'm not saying that men are bad or women are bad, but concetiously, it is believed. Women and children are considered to be better loan payers. So they are, even in banking, when you She mentioned that banking has a high credibility to the women, but women do not have necessary assets to support them.
Right.
This bank will look at those assets which your other family members are having, and hence will provide you for the necessary services. Very simple services are consultancy services. Let's say I want to start up a business. Banks are enrolled in consultancy services of starting up new projects. Like say distribution of your product, collection of items, collection of payments. Is it easy for women to actually collect their payments for the goods that they have distributed? I don't think so. Banks do it properly today, which we call it as factoring, which one of our bankers would accept. Factoring is a service which is available, but the present industry itself does not use it. But women do find it difficult to go to homes and collect their payments.
Right.
Factoring can be used. Distribution channels can be created by the banks. We see banks different distributing prospectus and others. They can distribute other things for the women. I'm not saying the present banking sector is not doing its bit. They are, but it's not sufficient. And if the government feels it's not sufficient and there is more welfare which is needed for the women, I feel it is a good step.
All right, Maithili, clearly there, it's not just giving access to credit or allowing women to open an account. There are many other services that this bank offers. Perhaps it will encourage more and more women to come out, to open bank accounts, and start up their own ventures.
Well, I'm not sure that this particular bank itself will make women come out and access services. It's a question of where, as in women, as time goes by and women get more empowered, they will want to look for access. Yes, I'm not saying it's not an enabler. It might be an enabler. But I'm just saying that I'm not sure that the symbolism does not override the substance. The substances, I think, is very relatively small, but the symbolism is huge, because at the time when you're going in for elections, clearly symbolism matters. I mean, elections are won on the basis of symbols, to be put it very literally. And this is a symbol. I'm not disputing that it will contribute, but I'm not sure it will make that much of a difference, because what you really need to do for women is empower them through other means rather than giving them access through cheap credit, because you cannot give them cheap credit. You have to price the credit at whatever it is worth, which they could just as get from other banks. But yes, you have one more bank, you have a few more branches, so certainly it's not a minus. It's a positive, but how much of a positive was the point that I was trying to get across.
All right, with that, it's time for us to take yet another break in the program. Stay with us. We'll be back with the final segment of the show.
मैं तो सारे मैसेज पढ़ूंगी। मैं नहीं देखूंगी तुम्हारा मोबाइल।
तू कब आया मोनू?
अब तो मोनू के कॉलेज वापस जाने का टाइम आ गया है। जब भी कॉलेज जाने की बात करो, इसका चेहरा उतर जाता है। कुछ तो गड़बड़ है।
नहीं नहीं, नया स्टूडेंट है ना, तो सीनियर तो रैगिंग करते ही होंगे। चिंता वाली कोई बात नहीं।
चिंता की बात है भाई साहब। रैगिंग जैसे गंभीर मामले को नजरअंदाज मत कीजिए। एंटी रैगिंग हेल्पलाइन नंबर पे कॉल करें और उनसे सलाह और सहयोग लें।
एंटी रैगिंग हेल्पलाइन नंबर 1800-180-5522 पर कॉल करें।
अरे हरिया,
अरे काका।
नमस्ते।
नमस्ते। सुना है तू बाप बनने वाला है? तो फिर कार्ड बनवा लिए ना? राशन कार्ड कब के? अरे वो नहीं, वो का।
अरे वो वोटर्स कार्ड की बात कर रहे हैं।
अरे नहीं।
हाँ काका, हम दोनों का ही है।
अरे बिटिया, हम वो कार्ड नहीं, मातृ एवं बाल सुरक्षा कार्ड की बात कर रहे हैं।
ई कौन कार्ड है?
काका, ई कौन सा कार्ड है? अरे बिटवा, ये वो कार्ड है जो माँ और बच्चे की सेहत की निगरानी करता है और बच्चे को कुपोषण से बचाने में मदद करता है, समझे?
बात पते की तो गर्भ का पता चलते ही आंगनवाड़ी केंद्र जाएं और मातृ एवं बाल सुरक्षा कार्ड बनवाएं और फिर बच्चे के 3 साल का होने तक हर महीने आंगनवाड़ी जाएं और उसका वजन कराएं। तो आंगनवाड़ी से नाता जोड़ो, कहो कुपोषण भारत छोड़ो।
ओफो, गैस खत्म हो गई।
इतनी जल्दी? सिलेंडर तोल कर तो लिया था ना?
हर बार लेती हूँ।
खाली सिलेंडर तोला था?
खाली सिलेंडर?
देखो, सभी सिलेंडरों पर गैस का वजन, खाली सिलेंडर का वजन और कुल वजन छपा होता है। यदि खाली सिलेंडर का वजन छपे हुए वजन से ज्यादा है तो इसका मतलब सिलेंडर में गैस के साथ पानी मिला हुआ है।
यानी गैस कम?
बिल्कुल, इसीलिए सिलेंडर लेते और देते समय अवश्य तोलना चाहिए।
सही वजन हमारा अधिकार।
जागो ग्राहक जागो।
हाँ? आप कुछ भूल रही हो। क्या भूल रही हो? आपने नल नहीं बंद किया। अरे ध्रुव।
क्या दीदी?
तुम कुछ भूल गए।
क्या दीदी?
तुमने जाने से पहले लाइट नहीं ऑफ की।
उतना ही इस्तेमाल करें जितने की आवश्यकता है। आने वाली पीढ़ी को उनकी सुविधाओं से वंचित न करें।
जागो ग्राहक जागो।
Welcome back to Inside. We are talking about India's women's bank, the Bharatiya Mahila Bank. Ms. Chaudhary, to what extent do you think this bank is going to contribute to the banking scenario in the country in the light of the new banking licenses that are going to come up?
It's too early to say that, but like ma'am mentioned, Yamini mentioned that you know, the projections that you know, the 60,000 crores of contribution, they all sound good, but you know, in the same newspaper I also read that you know, Pakistan had opened their first Mahila bank way back in 1989, and today they are running into losses. So I hope we learn from their mistakes and you know, we do something you know, better. So the thought is good, the beginning is good, and let us all look at it from a very, very positive view, and I'm sure it will contribute positively towards the whatever objective has been there behind opening this bank. And like I had mentioned earlier, there are so many things we can look into for empowering women. Education is one of those, and various other ways also. Looking at women's creditworthiness in a more favorable manner than the normal banks do, that will be a step forward. And yes, definitely it will help women get the focus.
Yeah,
so
and it will give a boost to women entrepreneurship.
Absolutely,
as well.
It will give them more confidence to approach this particular bank rather than go to another bank first, where they are likely to get, you know, their application is likely to get rejected. And here in this bank, I hope that you know, they are received more favorably. They get the confidence they deserve, and both do well.
Dr. Agarwal, you know, we've had a similar experiment. Seva was mentioned earlier in the program. There are many global experiences to look at. Bangladesh, for instance, there's been a similar experiment in Kenya, a very successful one at that, improving access for women to credit, particularly in rural areas, that enhance, you know, many livelihood generating enterprises. What's been the global experience like in the developed world?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I can't really comment upon as to whatever is the overall experience at the moment. But I do understand that, you know, when you actually take out the credit profiles between men and women, you will actually observe that in the rural wings, the rural people as well as women are considered to be better credit worthiness than the men or the industrial people, or even at the urban centers when they borrow. And it has also been found that when you start a project, you don't look at the negative sides. You don't say that we will fall. Yes, you definitely do look at those places where you can fall. As she very correctly mentioned that, you know, we must learn from where they fell. And, you know, as far as Pakistan as an economy is concerned, I would not like to debate its credentials with respect to India. I do believe India stands in its financial system, in its democracy and every other respect far superior than that country. And as far as a women bank is concerned and its women workforce participation is concerned, it is much higher. And if microfinance, let's say, instruments are raised, biofuel plant instruments, whereby, you know, it's believed about 300 billion days labor spends for collecting fuels. And, you know, and largely most proportion goes from women's side. You know, even if they can spend or they can put in small amount of money into their banks and start their deposit, I think it's a good idea. Maybe they can start the savings deposit. Today, if you start a savings deposit, you need a minimum amount of a certain balance, which maybe a lot of small group people may not have. Maybe they can start it. I'm not saying all banks do it, but some do. And as far as, you know, your Seva is concerned, it's limited in approach. We understand when a government starts a bank, it has a certain amount of public confidence. And when they say we are primarily opting on for a certain group, they call them as special, not as strange species. I beg to differ on that. They say they are special people and they need to be brought about as special and considered as special. And advantages need to be brought to those special people.
Okay, would you like to respond to
I
that?
think that government's first role is to ensure that women feel safe in this country. I think that is very much definitely the government's role. That's law and order is the first job of the government. I think access to credit definitely follows way behind after that. As far as requiring minimum balances, we now have a no-frills account which does not require minimum balances at all. So any woman can even deposit 100 rupees, 50 rupees. There are such no restrictions at all. As far as self-help groups and microfinance is concerned, yes, it is the experience that women become better borrowers. But we're not talking about a self-help group, nor are we talking about microfinance. We're talking about banks. Okay, now when I lend to a bank, I need to look at what is the projections that they're making, what is the kind of servicing capacity of the borrower. So I think we're trying to we're confusing different things. So I think, as I said, there is a role for the government, there is a role for a bank, and one is it's very important not to mix the two, because when you do, you get a khichdi. And I'm not sure khichdi is the way to go in a globalizing, modern, capitalistic economy.
But I'll come back to the global experience here. There are examples from other countries to look at. How do you look at the experience?
Each country is different. Okay, yes, there have been experiences in other countries, but by and large, what has been found is that the self-help groups, the microfinance group, that kind of model works better. As far as the experience of banks, catering only to women, there are very few examples, and they've not necessarily been a success. But as I said, banks cater to a different kind of clientele. They're not really looking at, yes, banks do give loans to small businesses, small industries, but they're not on the scale of microfinance and SHG. Lend 100,000, 5,000. The scale of the lending is different. And if you really have to make these very small loans, or micro loans, your cost goes up phenomenally. So if you're talking about banking per se, that means you're talking about larger loans, then in that case, as I said, I don't think it is the sex that matters. It is the capacity to repay. And if at all you wanted it, my only problem is no objection to Women's Bank, because I said anything that helps in the country which is hugely underbanked is positive. But whether the same purpose could not have been served with the existing banking system, that was my question.
Right. Ms. Chaudhary, how important is the issue of credit monitoring here when we talk about catering to women?
While sanctioning a loan, I'll look at the credit worthiness of the borrower, and there could be certain points where I would feel that maybe here there is a negativity there, or some negative point there, but I could be changing it, looking at the overall picture, or maybe I'll have certain guidelines in the bank that if this is the case, then this can be overlooked, looking at the other aspect.
Okay.
Right. I'm not sure about the guidelines which the bank as of now has for sanctioning a loan, but this same process will be followed for each customer that comes to the bank, whether it be men or women. But two similar cases, if I have to sanction a loan, if I have to choose, I'll choose the woman. That should be my priority in this bank. Right. So to check the credit worthiness of the borrower, my way of looking at it will be somewhat slightly different from my way of looking at it if the borrower is a man. That I think will be the only difference. But like Yamini pointed out, that women have turned out to be the better borrowers, and because repayment, the record is better than men in case of women. That's been the experience. So I will have more confidence in the woman than I would have at the man with the same profiles. So my way of looking at it will be like that.
Okay, Dr. Agarwal, how important is the issue of credit monitoring?
I think that she's actually put it very well. I couldn't have put it better, since it's come from a person who has served in the bank. The credit worthiness is nowhere being sidelined, or it is not being considered. It is being considered. She said very correctly, I will give preferential treatment to the women, or I will prefer the women. I think that serves the purpose, as long as the person who needs the fund gets the funds.
But again, as Maithili pointed out, you are dealing with the depositors' money here.
So here we are not, we are not saying that we will not give you the right returns. We are saying, rather than giving it, if I have two similar cases, I have limited amount of money, I will prefer a woman. And I understand that, it is believed that a woman serves the entire family. So, she has concerns of the entire family at her back. I'm not saying men don't do that. Definitely men are the earners in the family and they do their dues. But women have different concerns as that of men. And whether it is because of their femininity, whether it's because of the culture, whether it's because of something else, it definitely contributes in a good manner.
Okay.
In terms of economic growth, let's say that she might be more concerned about children's education rather than buying a house. You know, maybe a man is more interested in, let's say, purchasing a car as against getting his child a better education.
Okay.
I'm not saying all men do that, but I'm just giving a simple example. So, you know, this bank will take preference to women, which she very beautifully had put.
Okay, we've reached the end of the program, but I'd like your final comments, starting with you. I know you disagree with a bank exclusively meant for women, but now that we have one, to what extent do you think it's going to address the problem of financial inclusion, which remains a distant dream for us?
Well, I would only hope that while you empathize with a woman, when you're actually lending somebody else's money, look at it with the same dispassionate, you know, professionalism as you would regardless of whether it came from a man or a woman, because you have a fiduciary responsibility, and your responsibility is first to your depositor and then to the rest of the country, because you are a commercial business. It is for the government to look after the welfare of the woman, but the banks to look after the welfare of the depositors' funds.
All right, Ms. Chaudhary.
It's a step in the right direction. Let's all feel positive about it. So anything that helps.
All right.
I'm all for it.
Okay, Dr. Agarwal, a quick word from you.
I just hope women work participation increases and their participation and contribution to the overall GDP, both in the unorganized and the organized sector, improves with the WIS Bank.
All right, with that, it's time for me to wrap up the discussion here. I'd like to thank all my guests for coming to the studios. It was a pleasure having you all here. That's it for now in this edition of Insight. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.